Hello guys and welcome to my channel. So today's topic with SAP Learning Brain is release procedure in SAP MM. Now many of us are aware what exactly is release procedure, but few of us are quite skeptical, or I can say they get overwhelmed when they really hear the word release procedure in SAP MM. Now I'll tell you exactly why. But before going to why, let's understand what exactly is release procedure. So as we know, the whole P2B cycle that I've explained earlier, the release procedure plays an important role. I've explained in that phase also, and I'll explain it again today. So when it comes to release procedure, mostly these release procedures are done or applied to the documents which are going outside the premises, or you can say outside the company, external document, which is called in SAP. So these external documents now, if we don't have any control over sending those documents, what would happen is any person can come up and create a purchase order and get it like moved to company. Now suppose I'm an employee and there's one more employee and there is no restrictions, like you can order anything and everything. So maybe if I think in that way, so I say, "Arey, there is no any approval process or something." So what I'll do is I'll just order a washing machine on company's name and I'll take it home. So this is something which is unnecessary. We don't need it, and I am like benefiting myself, my own self. So to avoid these things, what we do is we uh, we or SAP came up with a solution saying that let's have a release strategy in place. Then we say that whenever the order goes beyond $1,000, then it should go to these two entities, as in the purchase manager and the finance manager. And then we say as and when it goes ahead, like if I say between 1,001 to $10,000, so it should go to purchase manager, finance manager, and the CEO. And again, the hierarchy goes on increasing as soon as the value of the purchase order rises. Now, when I say purchase order, why only purchase order I'm considering is because these release procedures are mainly created for RFQs also. But mainly PO, purchase document, is something which has all the details, like all the minute details, the payment terms, the price of the PO, how many quantity we are going to acquire, and what was the RFQ used against which there was a PO, like against which this PO is created, and if not RFQ, then which is like if there is an agreement, outline agreement, be it scheduling agreement or a contract. So all of this stuff come together inside a PO itself. So I'm just emphasizing on PO because both the release strategies can be applied. Sorry, only one strategy can be applied to PO, that is with classification. Now we will understand all of these stuffs in the later part. For now, you just make sure that you are understanding what is release procedure properly. Okay. So now let us go further. Let's have a theory part completed a bit, and then we'll go to the practical part. Okay. So now here, if you see, there's a business scenario they have given. As I explained you, it has the whole point in this, where it is saying that manufacturing organization wants all external documents such as POs, contracts, scheduling agreements to be approved by a manager and vice president based on their value, with low amounts requiring no approval, medium amounts requiring manager approval, and high amounts requiring both manager and vice president approval. So in this case, see, as I told you, $0 to $1,000, no approval required. We say. Then $1,000 to $5,000, manager needs to approve, and more than 5,000, then it should go to manager and vice president. So this is the image where we say purchase requisition is created, then it is under release strategy. Now this purchase requisition also goes under release strategy. I'll tell you why. Because this is the internal document which will be going to purchase department. And then purchase department after that decides if this purchase requisition has to be converted into PO or not. So being an internal document, this has two different types of release strategies that can be triggered. One is with classification and without classification. For now, you just make sure you understand with and without. The explanation regarding with and without we will see in the further upcoming topics. So then what happens if it is a yes, like if the release strategy is going to be approved, then RFQ will be triggered. And if it is if it is not under release strategy, then what would happen? It says no, there is no release strategy, and then it directly goes to create RFQ or a purchase order. Now, as soon as the purchase order is created, it will go under release strategy. Now, here it was explained, 0 to 1,000, no approval required. So suppose our purchase order is more than $1,000. So what happens is, it goes under release strategy, then approval required. As soon as the approval is okay, that particular PO gets sent to the vendor. And then vendor prepares the material, the raw material that we require, and he hands over to us. After that, goods receipt is done, and then invoice verification part and everything comes into picture. So this is actually a release procedure flow, process flow. Now here comes release procedures, basic concepts. Now first is release procedure without classification and release procedure with classification. So now when I say without classification, what happens is SAP has defined its standards, saying that if it is without a classification, then there will be 4 to 5 filters that will be provided, and as and when you give those filters in the release strategy will be triggered. Okay, this is first part. Now here if you see, release procedure without classification can be configured only for item level release. Now if I say item level release, it can only happen when it is a purchase requisition. I'll tell you why. Because if it is a purchase requisition, there can be multiple lines having different plants and purchasing organizations. But when we create a PO is created for particular purchasing organization. So you cannot have different plant related line items created in under one PO, because all of them would have different purchasing organization and company codes. So I cannot have all those lines in one PO. So for that, what it says, item level release. Now, if I am a production person, okay, what I'll do is I'll say there is a requirement of sheets, the glass sheets, then aluminum frames, then I say solar cells. Like before we have discussed, we are actually talking about the solar industry. So I say that there is a glass sheet that is required, then there is a aluminum frame, then comes the solar cells. Now, all the three vendors, like all the three line items will have different vendors. So when I say different vendors, the different vendors will be having different entities. Now suppose I'm a production guy or a production head, okay, I have to take care of three different plants which are near to each other. So one plant says I have a requirement of glass sheet, one plant says I have a requirement of aluminum frames, and the third says I have requirement of solar cells. So these are three different plants, and for that what I would see, like what I would do is I will create a single purchase requisition, and then as soon as I create single purchase requisition, it will have an item level release. So this would allow the purchase guy, like who is the purchase head, to see which is the most required one. As if I say that the glass sheets are mostly, like, it is undeniable, we cannot deny it, and we have to buy this. And then comes aluminum frame. So I say no, aluminum frames are available. Uh, Plant A has aluminum frames. What we will do is we will just do a stock transfer and move it to the other plant. And then comes solar cell. So again, for solar cells, I say that right now the solar cells, how much ever solar cells, like you need 1,000 solar cells. From that, plant A has 500 solar cells and the other plant has 600 solar cells. So we will do a stock transfer. So now what the purchase guy will do is he will reject the other two lines and only accept one line. Like he will approve only one line. Now, this was possible because we had the item level release set for the purchase requisition. And this can only and only be done for the purchase requisition. You cannot have an item level release for purchase orders, being as purchase order is a external document and purchase requisition is an internal document. I hope this is clear. Now, first, let's understand this without classification. Now, let's understand what is with classification. Now, when I say with classification, you can have ample of classifications created. Okay, so here we have different steps. Now, here, if I say these are criterias, or you can say these are the classifications done according to a classification or a filter provided on which the purchase requisition release strategy will be triggered. In the same way, we will have here different classes created. There will be characteristics created. Characteristics are these: plant, value, material group, and everything. And then what we will do, we will create, if suppose I have, like I say, I have 10 different characteristics to be created. One is plant, then value, then material group, account assignment category, company code, the purchase document and everything. So according to my understanding, I have 10 characteristics. Now we have created 10 characteristics. Then what I'll do is I will create a class, and this class, what I'll do is I'll get those 10 characteristics created and I'll attach to a class. Now, when I give it into a class, what happens is these all come together and form a cluster in a class. Okay. And then the classification comes into picture. Okay. After that, there is a release codes created, then release group is created, then release strategy gets created. And in that, we go and define those classifications, saying that if the value is between $0 to $1,000, then this is only the value. Then I say that if it is for company code 0001, then the document type should be NB, standard document type. Then the value should be between $0 to $1,000. Then the purchasing group should be this. All of these stuff when I give, and when I go and create a purchase order, if these all things are properly mentioned or properly defined in that purchase order, then there will be a release strategy triggered. Okay. So now, if you see, this is a what we say pictorial representation of with and without classification. So release procedure with classification can be defined for purchase requisition, purchase order, RFQ. But when it comes to without classification, there is only one document for which without classification can be used, that is purchase requisition. Because purchase requisition is an internal document, as I have already mentioned this. And purchase order and RFQ are the external documents which are going to go to the vendor. Here they have clearly mentioned the same thing. Release procedure without classification is only possible for purchase requisition. Item level approval is allowed for purchase requisition because they are internal documents. Okay. So now if you see here, as I told you, release strategy. So it defines entire approval process, consists of release conditions, release codes, and release prerequisites. Okay. Then we have release conditions or criteria where we give all the criteria that we want to define. Then release code, release prerequisites. Then we have release status or indicators. Now we go to configuration. Now let us go to SAP screen and see the configuration part. Now first we will do the without classification, and after that we will be doing the with classification. Now since till today I was not taking help of the uh, documents I have created, the study material that I have created. But from now I will be using those documents so that it helps you and it will make you more like give you more understanding or more clear picture, because then you will try to correlate it properly. Okay, these documents are already posted on my LinkedIn account. You can go and download it anytime, and you can refer this video and then do those changes or do those configuration and utilize it. Okay. So now let us, if you see here, the path is SAP reference IMG, materials management, purchasing, purchase requisition, release procedure, setup release procedure without classification. Now let us go to SAP, SPRO, reference IMG, then materials management, purchasing. There you go. There is purchase requisition, release procedure. And if you see in repurchase acquisition, you will find setup procedure without classification and procedure with classification. This is the only document which has both the options. Now we will accept the without classification. First is release codes. So if you see there are different release codes already created, if you want, you can create your new. Okay. So I say D1 manager, D2 VP, D3 CEO. These are all hypothetical. Don't get overwhelmed with that. After BP, only CEO can approve. There are different. There are 8 different level of releases in with classification, and without classification, you can have again the same thing. Release codes can be defined. Okay. Then we come to release indicators. Now, if you see, release IDs are given. So, what is the first release ID? That is one says that if the PR is approved, then it should allow us to create the RFQ. Then we say two. So it says RFQ or purchase order. Now, when I say RFQ, then only then you will be able to create RFQ, and after that you can create the purchase order. But if I say two, then at that time what happens is even if the RFQ is not there, you would be able to create the purchase order. Then comes B, which is blocked. Okay. So if you want, you can create more release IDs, but then it would be confusing. I will say don't please don't confuse yourself. Okay, right now you are doing those configurations to make a better understanding in your mind, and then you can eventually, when you start working on a project, you will encounter all of these stuffs, and then you can easily correlate it and use it. So right now, don't get overwhelmed, and please don't clutter yourself with different release IDs created. Okay. Then we go to assign release indicators. So if you see here R1, then S1, VG. Now I will create new release strategy. I say D1. So code one, then here I give release status will be set. Then here I give X D1, D1. Now I'll give the release ID. If you see here, there are 8 different codes. As I told you, you can have 8 level of releases given. Okay, that means you can have 8 different codes created, release codes. Now here comes the release ID. Okay, so if only one is releasing, then I say it is blocked. Then again blocked, and then here I say 2. Enter and save this. Okay, this means first code 1 will release, then code 2 will release, and then code 3 will release. Now let's go back, and here comes the release points where I say I give the release strategy and release codes, and then manager will be at which code, then the VP will be at which code, and CEO will be at which code. I give all those details here. I say new release strategy, D1, 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 release code D1, D3. Now here I say that X, X, X. Now if you open this, you will see that there is a plus like symbol also. Release status as prerequisite. That means, how can I say that? So When I say prerequisite, now if you see here, define strategy, release sequence. Now here is a sequence that they give, that there is a prerequisite. That means if I say X and then if I put it plus here, so what happens is it says that after code 1 is released, then only code 2 can release. But if I remove this particular plus from here, then what would happen is anyone can release it anytime. Okay, so if D3 wants to release, the person can release. And if the C2 wants to release, then he can release. But now what I say is plus. That means first code 1 will release and then code 2 and then code 3. Enter, save. Now let's go to the last part, that is determination of release strategy. So if you see, there is account assignment, material group, plant, value of purchase requisition, currency, and which is the release strategy to be used. Now here I say account assignment category, let it be blank. Then what was the material that we created? Let's take this button. 60. Plant is DIV2. Okay. And material type is ROHD. We will do now here. Here the material group. So there you go. This is the material group. I say 9900. Then plant I give as DIV2. Value of purchase requisition I say 1000 USD. Release strategy will be D1. Enter. And then I will create one more. Again 900, 9900 DIV2. Now I will increase the value. So if you see here, they have different plans for which they say value of purchase requisition. If it is 1000, they have 1000 DEM, then R1 release strategy should be triggered. Then as and when we go down here, we will find the same things. So now let's go back. Now let us go to the document. Let's see if we have covered everything. So let's see. First was release codes that we did. Then comes release indicators that we created. Okay, like not created. You can if you want to. Okay, you can refer the document. But I would say it is like it is not needed. Then also need to define controlling indicator, a field selection key for release indicator. So this is the part when you create a release indicator. Okay, where you say fixed for MRP, release for quotation, release for ordering, and then field selection key is given, changeability, if changeability is required or not. So all of these stuff can be done. Then comes the release assign release indicators, where we give all the indicators, release points or prerequisites. Simulation is like not done. We will do the simulation, don't worry. Then we give the determination. So here our chapter with class without classification ends. Now let us do a simulation real quick. See D1, D2, and D3. Okay, set or cancel release. So if I try to release D2, it would say release with code D2 cannot be possible. So I say release possible, then release possible and release possible. But if you see, it still says it is blocked. Now we have to go back and see release indicators. So here if you see, B1, what we said is, okay, one second, it is blocked. Oh my God. So here we have to create one more entry, D1, X, X, X. So this indicator should be to enter. And so two. And there again. Okay. Save. Now let us go back and see the simulation. Blocked, blocked. See, release for order. Okay. So this is the way you do it. Now let us go to a new like new page. ME51N. Now here I click the source determination, which will allow us to have the vendor picked up automatically. Now let us give the material plant DIV material group of plant and languages quantity 3 valuation price I say, or let's take quantity as 1 and here I say 1000 USD. If you see text vendor was taken. Now I just no messages issued during check. Let us see. There was no release strategy trigger. Now there is something which is going wrong due to which the release strategy is not getting triggered. Now let us go and check the details. Determination of release strategy, position, plan DIV. So if you see there is no plant, the plant did not get created. Now let us go to position again. Sorry, new entries. Let us remove this material group. 1000 USD release strategy. Save. Enter. Enter. Save. Go back. Save again. And now let us remove. Create again. Storage determination. So let us see what is the extra changes that we have to do to get the release strategy triggered, or what is the setting that is missing due to which the release strategy is not getting triggered. Now this is something which usually occurs, and we as consultants have to deep dive and understand why is this not showing the release strategy. Now let us go to the settings again, and I'll tell you which is the exact change that we have to do. Okay, so materials management, purchasing, purchase requisition, and here is the setting. Okay, so when you go here in the document types, just select NB, and in NB, when you just scroll to your right, there is the overall release of purchase requisition. Right now, I've removed this checkbox, but if this checkbox is given as check, then there is no release strategy that would be getting triggered. So you need to remove this particular checkbox, and then now we will try to create release strategy. Okay, source determination, material, quantity, delivery date, plant, group, enter. Now we get the quantity. There you go. See, there is a release strategy that is triggered. Okay. So this is the way we as consultants have to be, rational or analytical in our profession, so that you get the answers quickly. Even if it takes time, it is okay. But you need to have the answer. If you don't ask yourself why, what, and when, you won't be able to survive in this consultant industry or IT industry, where we have to every time deal with new issues. It is not every time that you get the same issue. There will be issues which will be recurring, but there are issues which are which that yeah, there is only one setting that is missing, but still you won't be able to get it. We as consultants who have more than 8 years of experience, we also get stuck somewhere where we are not able to, understand what exactly is missing, because of which this particular process is not happening. So it happens, and it is natural. You don't need to get overwhelmed when you face this kind of issue. Just keep your mind calm and just be composed and try to look for the loophole, and you will get that loophole for sure. Just be calm. So if you take hasty decisions, you won't be able to get the particular issue that has been faced. But if you keep yourself calm and composed, you will get that particular issue. Okay, as we saw. So in this way, you can just be rational and don't get overwhelmed with release procedure. So this is it for today for without classification. In the next upcoming video, I'll be posting a video for with classification. Now we will first complete the without classification, and then I'll take you to the key takeaways from without classification. Okay. Now let me save this. Now in ME51N we saved. Now when I go to ME52N, you see, you won't be able to release this. Okay. But there is a T code for individual release of PR. Okay. That is ME54N. So as soon as you go to ME54N, there will be a pencil-like symbol here. Okay. Then there is one more T code, that is ME55. Here you give the release code or release group or the purchase requisition, and then you can just click on execute. Let me take the PR number. Okay. And I give the purchase requisition that release code. Say D1. So only D1 will be showing. Okay. And then release strategy, I will release this. This will show you in simulation, and then detailed data, what all things are there in the PR, and then accordingly you can release it. And then you click on this document, you will get the ME52N display. Okay. Now let us go to ME54N. Let's do the overall release. So if you see, as soon as I release first level, it will go to second level. Then it will go to third level, release it, and then it says release indicator says if your purchase order can be created now. Save this. Okay. So now let me take you to the Excel sheet where I have marked some key pointers. Okay, that or the key takeaways. Classification. Margin standard. Well, Okay. So in release without classification, there is there are four key takeaways. Okay. First is only used for internal document, that is PR. Then we have next, item level release can only be seen in internal document release. Okay. So if it is an internal document, item level release can be there. But when we talk about external documents, you have only one kind of release, that is overall release at the header level. Then we see that there are 8 level of releases irrespective of classification. Okay. So be it any release procedure, there will be 8 level of releases. Then comes the release procedure. Next point, that is release procedure won't be triggered if you have overall PR release checkbox given in the PR document type. So this is something many of the times we as consultants also forget. So it is okay. But if you have these key takeaways, and this is like you can keep this as a practice, okay? The more you keep on writing the key takeaways from each and every topic, it will make things very easy for you and for your understanding. Okay. So this is it about release without classification in the release strategy. I'll be posting the next video in a day or two. So if you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe my channel, and do comments do write your reviews in the comment section, be it good or be it bad. I am open to anything. You can be as brutal, honest as you can. If you find it informative, you can share it with your colleagues or the person who you think can be benefited from this. And if you have any improvisation pointers for me, I am free to accept that. Then coming to the document part, the document I have already posted on LinkedIn. You can download the document from there and go through the video and do the configurations. You will be in a good state for sure. So I have tried to explain everything in a detailed manner. Still, if you find if there are any loopholes, you can come up and tell me. Thank you, and do subscribe my channel SAP Learning Lane. Goodbye for today.